So we're just basically mixing everything together until it's nice and even. Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Giri's Kitchen. This week we're going to be making something very special, near and dear to my heart. It's actually going to be the Mooncake Festival very soon. So we will be making mooncakes this time. I'm going to show you guys how to make a very traditional flavor and also a lava custard flavor. I think it's going to be very yummy and I can't wait to cook with you guys. So let's get starting into the baking. Let's start with the most time-consuming thing, which is actually the lotus paste. But this is what lotus seeds look like. And it looks like this. It's dry, it looks like this. It looks like a nipple. So you can see that this nipple is very shriveled and tiny. And this nipple is very smooth and succulent. And that's because when you buy lotus seeds, they do come in this dried form and you do have to rehydrate them. And another reason why you want to soak these the night before is one, to soften them, but two, you do want to break it apart. Do this the night before, always the night before. 1 hour, 2 hours is not gonna do the trick, always the night before. So I actually soaked these for 2 days. So if you're gonna be soaking these for more than 1 day, that's totally fine. Just put it in the fridge instead, just in case so it doesn't like spoil. Break the halves open to make sure you get the little green seeds out. Some of them will have it, some of them will not, but it's safer to go through all of them. And then you can just strain these and then put it into a pot. And then we're just gonna add in water. Add enough water to cover the lotus seeds. Don't worry about the exact amount. As long as it's enough to kind of cover everything. We're gonna boil these to death until they start turning into like mush. We're gonna let that do its thing, let that happen. And while that's happening, we're gonna make some other things to kind of use up the time. I need to feed my queen here. Exactly, see? And we were talking about soaking lotus seeds and I said that they look like nipples. Would you care to see what my dry nipples look like? So we're gonna boil those down. We wanna check on the consistency to see if it's mushy or not. If it's not mushy and still quite hard, we're gonna add more water as we go. I'm gonna actually grab my egg yolks from my steamer. I actually steamed 3 egg yolks before we started stream because it needs a little bit of time to cook. But we're gonna start the lava paste now because I need time to freeze. These are my 3 egg yolks that I was steaming earlier. I sprayed a little bit of sake over it to get rid of any potential like gamey or weird smells coming from the egg yolk. I steamed this for about 15 minutes in the rice cooker on the steam function. And I'm just using a fork to mash it because this is going to be incorporated into the lava filling. I'm going to set this aside. We're going to be using this very soon. And then we're going to work on our lava filling, which is 50 grams cream. And then we're gonna do 10 grams milk powder, okay, 20 grams sugar. And we're also gonna add a little secret ingredient, which is sliced cheese. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in the microwave for about 45 seconds. We're gonna heat this up to give the milk and the cheese a chance to kind of all combine together. And now I'm gonna add in my crushed. So I have my lava mixture that is ready, but obviously it's too wet to do anything with. This is not going to be folding into any lotus paste or whatever when it's like this wet and soft. So what we're going to do is actually freeze it. I have an ice cube tray. I have a tiny one. I do recommend that you have a tiny ice cube tray, not the standard ones that have the large square size because that won't work very well. I have these nice little smaller ones because they are in the perfect size. And we're going to measure 7 grams of filling to each little piece or each little slot. So I have a Ziploc bag. I'm actually going to transfer all the filling into the Ziploc bag and we're going to use this Ziploc bag as a piping bag. We want to collect everything down to the tip. So we're going to stroke everything down to the tip here like this. Just use your fingers and stroke along the bag. I want to make sure we have everything at the tip and then we collect everything at the tippy here. Usually for a 50 gram mold, which is a small one right here, you need 15 grams of skin and 35 grams of filling. And I do recommend using a silicone mold if you have it, because silicone will be easier to demold. There we go. Okay, beautiful. And then we're gonna take this off. So now we have our little filling done. I'm gonna put my lid on it and I'm gonna throw these into the freezer right now because I want these solid AF. I want these hard as a rock. Turn my oven on. 180 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna do the skin now. So we're gonna measure the wet ingredients and then we're gonna add in the dry ingredients after. So what ingredients? We're gonna need 125 grams of honey. So I'm gonna add in half a teaspoon of lye water, and we're gonna do 55 grams of oil. It's a lot of oil, but it is necessary. We're just gonna whisk this together first to make sure everything is nicely combined, and then we're gonna add our flour last. Grab a little sifter. We're gonna need a sifter to break down any clumps in the flour, and we're going to get 180 grams of all-purpose flour. But I'm just gonna sift the rest in here. The reason why you wanna sift is you wanna get any big clumps out. Use your whisk and mix it in gently. Don't worry about over mixing when it comes to mooncake skin, but this time it actually doesn't matter because oil hinders the production of gluten. So as long as you have oil and not water in your flour, gluten will not develop. So in this case, don't worry about over mixing because it won't. So we're just basically mixing everything together until it's nice and even. Oh, it's mushy. It's mushy. Okay, I'm trying to find my blender because I'm gonna pop this into my blender now and see if I can start making a paste with it. Let me blend it and let's see if this works. If it's still too thick or chunky, we can always put it back and boil it. I think we should be good. Hopefully we're good. It looks quite smooth to me. I blended my lotus paste. So I have my wok here. It's best to use a non-stick wok. Now is not the time to be like, oh my God, Teflon, it's not healthy. Non-stick will save your life. And we're actually gonna pass it through a sieve first, just to make sure it's extra smooth. And I'm just gonna pass the paste through the sieve, just to make sure that there's absolutely no more small lumps. And before I turn the heat on, I'm actually going to measure out my oil first because we will be adding the oil in 3 separate additions, not all at the same time together. And I'm gonna measure 80 grams of oils. We will be adding a little bit of salt to offset the sugar and 120 grams of sugar. We're gonna put the heat on to a medium low. We want to slowly cook the liquid, the hydration out of the paste, but we don't wanna burn it because it will burn quite easily. Now is the time where you wanna make sure you're always keeping the paste moving and not sticking to the bottom because it will burn a little bit. And like I said, we're gonna do 1/3 of the oil, not all of it. Okay, I can see the, what is it called? The steam coming, so I know it's heating through. So I'm gonna do the second addition of the oil now and slowly mix this in. Okay, I added in my last addition of oil, so I'm just gonna slowly whisk that in. I'm going to add in my sugar now. Be careful, when you do add in the sugar, it will start to liquefy. So although it looks like a nice dry-ish texture now, once you add the sugar and once the sugar starts to melt, it will create a liquid of its own. So it will look like it's like getting wetter and wetter. So don't freak out if it's getting wetter, that's normal. I'm just gonna add in a nice big pinch, not big pinch, a small pinch, but a nice healthy pinch of salt. And the salt will help offset some of the sweetness. And also because the salted egg yolks are salty, it'll match well with the slightly salty filling. I think this is good. It's quite stiff. I put this in a little flat surface, so hopefully it can cool down a little bit. We can maybe, in the meantime, while this is cooling, we can maybe spread out our skin to 15 grams each. Like I said, I'll show you guys how to fold it so you can stretch the skin as much as possible. And they need to be 15 grams. And the reason is because the ratio of filling to skin needs to be very exact to fit into particular molds. Every mold's a different weight. So for mooncake skin, for a 50-gram mold, you need 15 grams of skin. I'm gonna try cutting this one, and I'm gonna hope and pray that I'll be able to make some filling with the black sesame paste. This is for the lava cake, the lava mooncake, so we're looking for 28 grams filling to 7 grams the lava filling. So we already pre-measured out the lava that we did earlier, so now we're looking for 28 grams of the black sesame paste. This is not the ideal filling. You can see how it's kind of like rubbing off on my gloves a little bit. So note to self, this particular brand of black sesame is not the best for mooncake, but we can still maybe make it work somehow. Okay, so for the egg yolk one, I'm gonna measure out the egg yolk. So what you wanna do is you wanna measure your egg yolk first, and then make sure that adds up to 35 grams total. So for example, this egg yolk is 14 grams. And then once you have your 2 measured out pieces together, make sure you put it together so you know which lotus paste belongs to which egg yolk, or else it's gonna be kind of awkward when you start folding it, because you don't wanna mess up like the pairing basically. I'm actually gonna make the filling for the lotus seed now. Wrap the yolk into the lotus paste and just seal it off. Try your best not to have any air in there, but just try your best, you know, and then just seal it off. And it should move very easily. It's plasticine basically. So if there's any like unevenness or somewhere is thicker, somewhere is thinner, you know, just move it along. It should be not that hard. Give your lotus paste a good squeeze. Maybe stick your thumb in there as well, so it has a little bit of a hole. And then you stick your egg yolk inside, and you just want to use your thumb and the rest of your fingers to slowly push the lotus paste from the bottom to the top. And you want to squeeze together a little bit so there's like minimal air pockets. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna go get my lava filling, and we're gonna make a few lava fillinged ones. Because the lava is not quite ready, maybe we'll get started on the regular mooncakes first. So we're gonna grab our skin. Again, it might not look like a lot of skin for the mooncake because the skin is quite tiny next to the actual filling of the mooncake. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use your hands and make it into a flat little pancake, as thin as you can get it without it being like too flimsy. And then you're gonna grab your lotus paste, your stuffing, you're gonna put it on top of your skin, and then you're going to turn it down upside down. So now it looks like a little hat. And then what you're gonna do is using your other hand to support the bottom, you're gonna use the thumb of your dominant hand, and then you wanna slowly, very, very slowly, kind of push the skin down towards your hand. So you're trying to slowly thin out the skin a little bit as you're going. And once it looks like you've gone far enough, turn it around now. So now the skin is on the bottom and the filling is on the top. And then again, using your dominant thumb, you want to slowly, as you're pushing the filling down to prevent it from moving, you want to slowly nudge the filling higher and higher into the top of the filling. So you're using your middle and your index finger to push the filling downwards while you're using your thumb to push the skin upwards. And once it looks like it's like this, it looks like a shumai, you can start kind of rolling it like this. Rolling it very, very gently, but roll it so you're closing the hole. And then you want to like just kind of slowly force the skin close. When it looks like it's kind of almost there, just give it a good old massage, a little bit of a nudge. See how it's like slowly closing in now? And then you just want to keep using both your thumbs. And as long as it's touching and sealed, that's it. You're done. And then we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour to prevent it from sticking to each other. Give it a little flour dust. So I'll show you guys how to actually use the mold now. Again, this is the 50 gram mold. And what you wanna do is you wanna pick one stamp, and then you're gonna push it down. I sprinkle a little bit of flour to prevent any sticking. Okay, so we're gonna grab one of our balls that we've put skin on over already. And remember, I have flour in the plunger and I have flour over the ball itself. And I'm just gonna find one direction, and I'm gonna just gently, really, really gently massage it like this to make it a little bit oblong if you can. And that's because we wanna make sure it can fit into the plunger nicely. So you put our ball into the plunger like this. So you're gonna slap this onto your baking tray and push down slightly if it's sticking out a little bit. And you wanna push your plunger down until you feel resistance. You don't wanna go all the way down, and then because if you go all the way down, it's gonna start oozing out from the bottom like a hydraulic press kind of thing. So as long as you feel resistance, and give it a nice firm push, and then lift it up. And then slowly use the plunger to ease your mooncake out. Ah, look! How cute is that? So we have one ready, and then we're just gonna repeat the steps. In between every single mooncake, you want to dust the plunger with a little bit of flour because the flour will get transferred to the dough a little bit with every single one. So what we're gonna do is, if you guys remember, I had my oven preheating at 180 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven for just 5 minutes at first, and then we're gonna put a little egg wash over it, and then we're gonna really bake it until it's fully cooked through. So egg wash is very simple. So I have 1 egg, and for the egg wash, it's not actually an whole egg. You wanna make sure it's only the egg yolk. And then put my egg yolk in, and you grab your brush, break it up, and then you have your egg wash.
5 minutes later.
It doesn't look like much right now because, again, it's still raw. It's not set or anything. I mean, it's not cooked. It's only set. We want to make sure the flour is kind of solidified a little bit before we do the egg wash. Oven is still on. Nothing is turned off yet. And I'm going to use my egg yolk egg wash. You want to try to have a bristled paintbrush, kind of like an actual paintbrush compared to a silicone one if you can. So what you want is you want to grab a nice little bristled like hair paintbrush, and then you want to get as much of the egg yolk off as you can. And then we're just going to gently, really delicately cover the top. And then now, if you want to be a little bit more generous, you can do the sides of the mooncake if you want. This is optional, you don't have to paint the sides. And then now we're gonna put these in for 15 minutes, I think? Yeah, 15 minutes until they're fully cooked through. And I'm gonna check on my frozen lava stuff. This is for the lava filling because we wanna keep it as cold as possible. So I decided to get some ice ready and just really sit the metal bowls in there. You can see here, it's kind of like stuck to the edges. So let me see if I can release one. Okay, I think for the rest, I'm going to put this back in the freezer because I don't think I'll be able to get more than just more than one. So this is our black sesame filling. Again, same idea, measured out. This is about 28 grams because this is 7 grams. And I'm just going to put that in there. Did you guys see that? Put that in there. And then enclose it right there. Okay, make a ball. So same idea, we're gonna grab our skin, do it real quick, get it as thin as possible, put it over, dump it on, use the same technique, bring our skin over the ball. Okay, you're gonna use your other hand and push the ball down, close that in, okay. Dust it with a little bit of flour. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna put this in the freezer. I'm going to dust this with flour. I'm gonna preserve these two. I'm gonna put these in the freezer so they don't get any warmer while we're waiting for the rest to finish. Okay, I'm gonna go check on my mooncakes. Ta-da! So you can see the egg wash was only on the petals and on the little flour bubble, so it's more apparent. So these are done, these need to rest. So if you were to eat it today, you can, but it will be a little bit dry. I would recommend you waiting, putting this into like an airtight container and eating it tomorrow or the day after. I want to bake the other ones now. I'm gonna place these gently and let them cool down. All right, let me quickly run to grab the lava ones in the freezer and we'll pop those into the oven as well. This one, because the filling is softer, you wanna be very careful with the pressure. So if you press it down, if you feel a little bit of resistance, don't go all the way because the filling is quite soft. Just a little bit of resistance and hopefully, oh, there we go. It's cute. Got a little rose. Okay, we're gonna pop these in the oven. Same idea, because this time the lava egg yolk and the black sesame are all cooked products already, we're only looking to cook the skin. So we're gonna do the 4 minutes where we let it set and then we do the egg yolk. And this time we don't have to bake it for the full 15, just 8 minutes will be enough because we only want the skin to bake. And we'll see what it looks like. If it's not golden brown, we'll stick it in for longer. It's not a big deal. So for now, we're gonna do same temperature, 180 degrees Celsius, for 4 minutes.
Later.
Again, it doesn't look like much, but we're only letting the skin set a little bit. We're not looking to cook it. And again, we're using our bristled brush, the one that has hairs on it, not the silicone ones, because those are not ideal for painting really small and delicate details. I'm gonna open one mooncake in the meantime. I'm gonna cut one open because I'm curious what it looks like on the inside. Let me give it a cut. Ooh. Ooh. You see that ratio? So if you guys were ever concerned if it was too much sugar in the lotus paste or not, you can really see that the ratio is very minimal. Oni bro ate it. Oni bro took it. Okay, so this is the lava one. Both of these are lava. You can tell the lava one has a rose print, so I can tell the difference. And the original one has a different, like a sunflower or whatever, so it's a little bit different. And here we have all our mooncakes that we made. This one got a really nice lava drip from it, coming from it. And the traditional ones came out really well as well. Again, Barrett, thank you so much for the wonderful gift and the cutting board. If you guys ever make this, feel free to let me know how it turned out for you. I would love to know. And also, what is your favorite mooncake filling? If you have one, leave it down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys want to see more of my videos, if you like my stuff, make sure you click the like button and the subscribe and the notification bell. I post very, very regularly, so hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you for coming, guys, and happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Bye! Look, it looks like an asshole. If this was like the black sesame, it literally looks like shit. It'll look like a literal piece of shit.